Hey all. What I'd like to do now is review an introduction to polar grids and polar coordinates. In some ways, they're similar to your standard X and Y coordinates, and in some ways, they're kind of different. So I thought, why not go over it and see what it's all about? So if we look here, it says on the grid below, each concentric circle increases in radius by 5 miles. That means here on this grid that each time you move from a smaller to a larger circle, your radius is increasing by 5. It says plot the following points, then write the polar pairs r comma theta for the points. So here it says for point A, 20 miles from O at an angle of 60 degrees from the polar axis. So what I'm going to do now is just zoom in a little bit. And we're going to figure out how to write that coordinate, point A, 20 miles from center O at an angle of 60 degrees. So all we have to do there is write it in that form, r comma theta. So I'm going to have 20 miles at an angle of 60 degrees. Now, how do we plot that? Good question. So looking at the grid here, what we need to do first is go our distance of r. So I'm going to move 5, 10, 15, 20, and then I need to go to an angle of 60 degrees. Well, I see here that each of these segments is 30 degrees. So to go 60, I just go back. So 5, 10, 15, 20, and I go 30, 60. And that right there is my point A, 20, comma 60 degrees. Cool. Let's try the next one. So here we have point B, which is 20 miles from O at an angle of negative 120 from the polar axis. So to write that, all I need to do is write 20, comma, negative 120 degrees. How do we plot it? Well, again, we go 5, 10, 15, 20. That's where R is 20. And instead of moving counterclockwise 120, I need to move the negative direction. So that's negative 120. So I'm going to go negative 30, negative 60, negative 90, negative 120. And this is point B, 20, comma, negative 120 degrees. For our last one, it says point C, 15 miles from O at an angle of 150 degrees. So the way we're going to write that, you probably guessed it, is 15, comma, 150 degrees. And the way I'm going to move there is similar, 5, 10, 15. So notice it's just one circle down from the previous. We're going to move an angle of 150. So it's 30, 60, 90, 120, 150. So right here is point C, which is 15, comma, 150 degrees. Now what I'd like to do is just go over some of these examples below. So it says check your understanding. Consider the points 40, comma, 240 degrees and 40, comma, negative 120 degrees. It says to describe in words what occurs when you plot these points. Well, why don't we try that out? So first I'm going to plot 40, comma, 240. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. And I'm going to go to 240. So that's going to take me all the way to 180. Then 210, 240. So I'm right here. So that's 40, 240. Then the other point is 40, negative 120. So similarly, I'd start at 40, and I go down 30, 60, 90, 120. Looks like it's the same point. So we could say here that this would be the same coordinate. Okay, and you could also check your answer key to see what's written there. I'm going to pause with this video, but tune into another one to learn more about polar coordinates.